So I met these people, this group called ASVO in Costa Rica, and this is, vivero means hatchery or nursery, and so this was in front of their turtle hatchery, and this is like one of my first days there, learning about how to do this turtle project work. And then, so, let's see here. So now we get to 2012, 2013, working at the animal sanctuary. I started doing community beach cleanups, skill shares, working with cats and dogs in the areas, making sure that the animals were safe. 2014, this relationship I was referring to ended, and I started to have these thoughts about I Promise, not really connecting to that name anymore. So that's when I came up with this Proyecto Huella, started building logos and started looking at like making a website and branding and all this stuff. That's like, you have to do it because you have to be able to tell people about it, but I would so much rather be out there like getting this shit done. I wish like that's just something we all could just do, but I have to come in here and like, you know, come on, let's do this shit. So I'm doing this, so I have a logo, a website, and so that's the evolution of Proyecto Huella. So I also started making trips. For immigration, you have to go down to Nicaragua or Panama. You have to leave the country. You get 90 days, you can stay in Costa Rica, and then you have to leave and come back. So I started making these trips to southern Nicaragua, and that set roots for things that are coming and things we started doing like beach cleanups and things like that. So when we were in southern Nicaragua on my second trip there, we did a food share. So this was our signs we had out on the street when we did the food share, and this is my friend and I and a local mother, like this family helped us cook, so we made this huge pot of lentils and rice and cabbage salad, and for about $10 we do 30 vegan meals to give away in Nicaragua, so super efficient with the food share program. So that's kind of one of the beginnings, one of the first like Proyecto Huella actions, and so then, let's see, what am I skipping? So we also started doing lots of beach cleanups, but Paul Watson style beach cleanups. Like he writes this article called Plastic Sea, and he talks about how we usually do beach cleanups for our own benefit because we like it to be prettier on the beach. So that means we're picking up these big pieces and these big chunks. We leave behind these tiny pieces. The tiny pieces are extremely dangerous and deadly for animals today, right now. They eat them, they swallow them, they're also releasing more toxins than the larger pieces because they're generally older. So we get the big pieces, but we also started this idea of really going after the microplastics. So this is in Montezuma, Costa Rica. We have a team out doing you can see how it's just crazy, and we literally just sorted out. We came up with some better ideas down the line. So that first year, I started building the logo and asking for help. I wanted to say I had a few volunteers, and outside funding was about $700 in donations. I'll come back to that in a bit. So yeah, 2015, continue working with ASVO, the turtle group in Costa Rica. Really treating it like school. I learned how to do every element of these projects, and now they vouch for me to set up new projects. So this is what we're doing this year. We start a brand new patrolling and a protected guarded hatchery. I'll explain that a little more in southern Nicaragua on a beach where that's never been before. So this is my first stepping out, setting up a brand new turtle project. This is happening in July, and it'll go through until January. So that was 2015. We started doing some hunt sabbing in Nicaragua, like getting used to the location. I say hunt sabbing because you have hueveros, like the poachers out there, taking eggs as the turtles dig a nest and leave them behind. And you can raise about $20 a nest, and you can scoop up 10 or 20 nests a night during peak season. So it's decent money, especially for Central America. So that's the motivation for taking these eggs. So what we can do if we don't have a hatchery and we don't have like a large-scale project, that's the thing about what I'm doing with Proyecto Huella. Like I adapt and I do what I can do with what I have at hand, whatever resources I have. And that's never nothing. The resources are sometimes nothing as far as money, but the action is never nothing. So with like nothing, we go to this beach in Nicaragua and we dress in all black at night and we hide in the woods and we jump out in a turtle nest, and we can either let her finish if there's no poachers around, and then clean up her tracks, so hide her marks after she came in. We can also dig the eggs and move them 10 feet over and dig a new nest, and then erase those tracks so the poachers come and they're digging where they think there's eggs and they get extremely frustrated. Yeah, you have input there? Questions?
Why do you hide the tracks?
So we either hide the turtle tracks or we hide our tracks from missing it. So when we leave, the poachers can't come along and find where the nests are, because that's how you find turtle nests, is you see this It looks like a small car drove on the beach, pretty much. I have a picture, I think, that will show you. So anyhow, that's we hide either the tracks or we don't hide them, so that the poachers come out and they think they found a nest, and they dig. There's a way with a stick. Once you get to know it, you can find exactly where she dug a hole, because they leave like a soft spot. And so with a stick, you can figure out like, oh, that's where the eggs are going to be. So they find this spot and they dig and they're not there. And they're like, what the hell? And then because we've moved them and then hid that. So we started doing that in 2015. So getting to know southern Nicaragua, getting connections there. My outside funding that year was about $4,000, supporting trips back and forth to the States, all this work up and down the coastline, the turtle work. Also, at the end of 2015, I came back on a trip, supposed to be a work trip, turned into more activism. Kind of, these guys were understanding health force, said, oh, yeah, you got something more to do. We go, well, you don't need to work so much. So there was this oil spill in Santa Barbara. If anybody, I'm sure you guys know about that. So me and a few volunteers through Proyecto Huella, we were like one of the first grassroots organizations to show up. We were there about 72 hours after the spill. They were lying about the extent of the spill. They were lying about the impact to animals. There was no wildlife spotting patrols. So I was immediately on the beach collecting samples, which I still have. I guess there's photos I'm missing. Let's see. So this is Nicaragua, where our hatchery is going to be, on a beach called Estemeca Grande. These foundations are the new hatchery we're building. We started in July. This will be a protected space for the turtle eggs. This is my oil sample. So I went way too far. What happened? It just wants to be on the weather back. There we go. It's showing me something different here. So anyhow, I started collecting samples. I got in a bit of trouble for this, and the government, Coast Guard, and the oil company, they wanted to know where I had these samples. They're in Santa Barbara still, with some activists, hidden safe. So when there are some lawsuits in the future, and they're claiming that there was no oil in Santa Monica or Malibu from this oil spill, we have samples, connecting it to, we can test the footprint of the oil and connect it. So these are in safe hands in Santa Barbara if they're needed in the future. So we were on the beaches immediately collecting these samples, doing the wildlife patrols. And so another example of like the spontaneity that we do. I already organized teams of I had some on internet assistants like throughout the country. We had people on the beaches all the way from Santa Barbara to Malibu doing wildlife spotting, and then I was down there getting onto beaches that they were closed and you're not supposed to be down there. We snuck down and got samples, and I got a finger wagging there from the Coast Guard for that. But these samples are there for activists if they need them in the future. So here we go. So I mentioned